One. Hey guys, we're doing a Chapter 8, Section 1 video here, if you're in our textbook in class. And we're going to be working on how can I find the circumference of a circle. But we're going to get into different types. This is probably not the first video on circles that you've watched. So I'm going to try to introduce you to something new. Okay, so we know what circumference is, but we're going to write it in our notes one more time. It's the distance around a circle. So if someone says we're measuring the circumference, what we're measuring is how far around the circle does it go. Now to do this, it's a little bit challenging because circles are obviously round and rounded objects are hard to measure. So luckily, we've got a formula to help us out. Now typically we call going around a shape the perimeter. So like if I had to find the perimeter of a rectangle or a triangle or a trapezoid, I would be measuring all the different sides of those shapes and adding it up. But with a circle, like I said, it's more challenging because of that roundness. So luckily, we have a formula, and we're going to try a problem here. For our first problem, we're going to find the circumference of a plate. So here's our beautiful dish. It's 9 inches across the dish. You can draw it in your notes. And the question is, what's the circumference of the plate? So here's that formula I keep talking about. Circumference is equal to pi times diameter, pi times d. So we write the formula down, and then we rewrite it, but we make a blank spot where the d goes, and we're going to change it to a number. What is the diameter of our plate? Well, the diameter in this picture looks like it's 9 inches across. So we're going to put a 9 in there, which means all we got to do is grab a calculator, and we got to do 3.14 times 9. Now I know pi is actually not 3.14, it's this really long decimal that never ends, but we're going to round because that's the most reasonable way to go about this. And we're going to multiply this on our calculator, and we get about 28.26. And since everything's being measured in inches, we're going to write inches, and our answer is 28.26 inches around this plate. That is its circumference. Okay, guys, so what if we didn't deal with circles? What if we were dealing with this shape, a half circle, which in math we usually call a semicircle? A semicircle is basically when you chop the circle in half, but still same question. I want to know what's the perimeter around this semicircle. So the perimeter would be the outside edges. Well, this gets a little tricky. Let's think about this. Part of the circle, which I just highlighted in red there, is rounded, which means we need the circumference formula. We know circumference is pi times d, but do we need the whole circle? No, we only need half of the circle. So we're going to take our formula and we're going to divide it by 2. That's going to give us half of the circle. But is that the whole perimeter of our object? And the answer is no. We're not remembering to include the straight line. So we have to add on that extra length of that line. And what's the name of that line that goes straight across the circle? There's actually a special name for that line. It's called the diameter. So we got to add on the diameter. I'm going to write plus d so we remember it. So semicircles are interesting. You got to cut the circle in half and find half of the circumference, but then you have that extra line to add on. People always forget to add the line, that diameter, but that's part of the perimeter. Why don't we try a problem with a semicircle now? So what's the perimeter of this semicircle that measures 6 meters across? Okay, let's go through the steps. Well, first off, we know that it's half of a circle, so we're going to use pi times d, but we're going to divide it by 2. Then we're going to replace that d with whatever the number for diameter is. Now pi is 3.14, but what's d? What's the diameter? Well, it's 6, and then we're going to divide by 2. So let's do that math first. Grab a calculator, and let's multiply 3.14 times 6. Well, that's 18.84. Now all we got to do is divide it by 2. So use your calculator, divide by 2. Make sure I'm getting the right numbers. Sometimes I make mistakes in these videos, so double check me. And I got 9.42. So it's 9.42 meters. And most people accidentally circle that and think that's the answer, but what are they forgetting? They've only got the half circle. They're forgetting the line. They didn't get the diameter included in that. So we need to take our answer, and we need to call it perimeter now, and we need to add that 9.42 to that diameter line. We got to add it to 6. So add that up, you get a nice answer of 15.42, and we're going to label that meters. That's the full perimeter of the whole semicircle, 15.42 meters. Okay, we're starting example 3 here, and we're going to do another question that says, what's the perimeter? This time our object is going to look like this. So it looks like another semicircle, this time being measured in feet. So right away I'm thinking, okay, let's work on the curved part first. The circular part is going to be found using a formula. C equals pi times d, but since it's a semicircle, we're going to divide by 2. Now what's d in this problem? I know pi is 3.14, but what's the diameter? A lot of people are going to say it's 2 feet, but why is that wrong? Yeah, 2 feet's the radius. It only goes to the middle of the circle. The diameter is all the way across, which would be 4 feet, the whole entire diameter, and we're going to divide by 2. So grab a calculator, multiply 3.14 times 4. Again, always double check me on these numbers. I got 12.56, and then divide it by 2, and you're going to get an answer of 6.28, which is great, but that's only the circular rounded part. So now we got a little more work to do. We need to get that line included. Remember that line is the diameter? So our perimeter is going to be the 6.28 plus that line, which is 4 feet long. We add that in our calculator or in our heads, and we get 10.28. So the full perimeter of this object, measured in feet, is 10.28 feet all the way around. Oops, I forgot my labels of feet. I better make sure I get that on there next. Okay, your turn. I got a you try problem for you here. Your problem is to find the perimeter of each of these objects. I'm going to give you 2 questions. There's going to be an A and a B. I would like you to stop and draw these in your notebook, both semicircles. Hit the pause button on your device and see if you can do these all on your own without needing any help. Okay, you're unpausing your device. You've done both of these problems. You want to check your answer, so let's see how you did. Here's the first one that has a 7 centimeter diameter. So C equals pi times d, but we're going to divide by 2. 3.14 times 7 divided by 2 is 10.99. I hope that's what you got too. Final answer, though, is to add 10.99 to 7, which is 17.99 centimeters. So the answer to part A is 17.99 centimeters. For B, you have a 15-inch radius, which means when you do your pi times d, you're going to do 3.14 times 30 because 15 and 15 make 30. And you'll divide it by 2 and get 47.1. Now you got to add that on to your diameter of 30. So 47.1 plus 30 is 77.1 inches around this object. So that should be your solution. Now if you made any mistakes, go back and figure out what they were, because if you figure it out, you probably won't do it again. So double check your work to see maybe where you could have gone wrong. And if you got them right, nice job. You're paying attention. Good work. All right, guys, so we're wrapping up this video. I hope you kind of understand that semicircles are half circles and how to find the perimeter around them. It involves measuring the curve, but also including that diameter line. You got to include the whole object. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.